K98Talk.com, a leader in Internet radio. So grab your seatbelts and take the ride of your life on K98Talk.com.
In these uncertain economic times, you've got to do whatever you can to save money. One of our biggest expenses can be our cars, especially when unexpected repair bills hit. Not anymore. If you own a vehicle with less than 130,000 miles, is less than 12 years old, has a warranty about to expire, or even no warranty at all, you could stop paying for car repairs. Roadside assistance, towing, and rental coverage are all included. Don't wait for the next repair. Make one free call right now to see if you qualify. If your vehicle is less than 12 years old, has less than 130,000 miles, even if it's out of warranty, paying for car repairs can become a thing of the past. Call us right now and get your car protected before your next repair bill hits. Get protection and no more repair bills. Call 800-696-1030. Again, 800-696-1030. That's 800-696-1030. 800-696-1030.
Joe had huge problems with the IRS.
I knew it was coming. I hadn't filed taxes since 1990.
All the IRS letters coming in added up to a nightmare.
It got up to like $68,000. My heart started beating fast. It's like, there's no way, man. I mean, I ain't going to be able to do this.
Then they stopped his paycheck.
So that's when I started making phone calls and found U.S. Tax Shield.
U.S. Tax Shield went to work immediately.
They just took the bull by the horns. What blew my mind is he called the IRS right then and there.
So why is U.S. Tax Shield A+ rated with the Better Business Bureau? Joe knows.
They saved me a ridiculous amount of money.
If you owe more than $10,000 to the IRS or state, choose the company Joe chose, U.S. Tax Shield.
It was the best decision I made. U.S. Tax Shield is the way to go. Life is good. Thank you, Lord.
Call 800-471-3287.
Attention Patriots! Red Nation Rising Radio is about to begin.
Please return your Republic to its original position and prepare for takeoff.
Fasten your seatbelts. It's going to be a bumpy night.
It's a long way to the top if you want to rock and roll.
Good evening, Tweets and Red Nation Rising team. We're so glad to have you tonight. Welcome to the Reddest Hour on radio. This is Red Nation Rising Radio. We're so glad to have you. I am Lou.
And I'm Jared. Thanks for coming out and listening tonight.
Yeah, thanks so much for being here. We are glad to have you. It has been a pretty interesting week. We got a lot of stuff going on and have a lot of people, interestingly enough, not so much on Twitter to talk about, believe it or not, but some people actually out on the ground doing things, which is great. And we are really excited to be talking about what you guys are doing, not just on Twitter, but out in your communities and out on the ground tonight. So this is going to be wonderful. First, I want to give a shout out to South Carolina, who is roaming around the Jindal Tim Scott event tonight and sending some information our way. And one thing he sent was a photo of a slide of Tim Scott's town hall schedule. And the first thing I thought to myself is, wow, John Boehner should have a schedule that looks like Tim Scott's. Because he has about 5 or 6, at least 5 more town halls that he's doing in South Carolina. And he's going all over the state to make sure his constituents get the opportunity to talk to him. That's a statesman, don't you think?
Yeah, I do. Like John McCain yesterday in Tucson, he had a town hall, but there was no town. There was just businesses, legislative organizations, No, the public wasn't invited. But, it's not surprising because the last time he spoke, everyone turned their back on him. And that was after he was censured for the second time. So, yeah, I think Tim Scott did better.
Yeah, definitely. And shout out, hat tip to Tim. And that was just really great. When I saw that schedule, I was like, well, at least somebody cares, And thank you, Tim Scott, for caring. And I thought that was wonderful. And I saw some schedules for Ted Cruz and some other people that are really out in the public talking and letting people ask them questions. We're going to talk to Politibunny in a little bit about maybe who the anti-establishment candidates are in the race. I think there's more than just one. I think we have quite a few of them, and I think we're lucky this year because of that. So we'll talk to her a little bit about that. Something else that's going on, big hat tip to Mississippi, they gave us a couple of things this week. So first, they've really organized this virtual flagpole. It's at hashtag virtual flagpole, and it was really an idea that our Mississippi account came up with to and the person behind that account, she's not it's not someone that's like a robot. It's an actual person behind that account, and this person came up with the idea of a virtual flagpole for people to rally around and pray about different things. And a shout out to Mark over at Patriot Journalist Network as well, who reached out and is kind of, we're getting behind each other's efforts. He has a prayer hour or two on PJNet on every Friday, so I want to give him a shout out for that. The other thing that they rallied us around is the protests that are going on Saturday to defund Planned Parenthood for some of us. It's really about the funding more than anything. For others of us, it is a very emotional thing. Some of us, it's a spiritual thing. But I think at this point, with the last video that was released this week, talk about a crazy week, that pretty much any of us can find a reason that this organization needs to be defunded. I don't want my tax dollars going, regardless of how I feel about anything else. I don't want my tax dollars going there. Right. I mean, right? It's just you're forcing people to put their money into things that they don't believe in.
Yeah, there's a lot of that.
Well, yeah, there is. There's a lot of that, and I think that these videos have really kind of opened our eyes to, yeah.
Yeah, and they're not done. And that's the thing that makes me, aside from what the content and what these people do, is that the people that come after the whistleblowers, as opposed to investigating the perpetrators of the felonies, they're going after the whistleblowers.
Yeah, attack the reporter. It is really kind of a theme in PR these days, and it's a little bit of a disturbing one, I think. I do want to tell you, tonight they're storming. So our teams are storming tonight as we speak. Hashtag defund PP. Hashtag protest PP. I'll tell you why. And hashtag the heart was still beating. You have to watch the video to understand that. And I'm not going to get into it on the air because I can't handle any more of this. I don't know how much more of this I can take, honestly. But we have some grapevines from South Carolina out there, and there are protests this weekend. The URL is protestpp.com. They've been really busy. I've hit the site a couple of times today and it was down, so be patient with them. I don't know if they anticipated all the traffic that they were going to get, but we're glad that they're getting it. And I don't really think I need to do too much to introduce our guest that we have coming up after the break. We're going to have Politibunny with us. I think you guys all know her, but we'll let her introduce herself a little bit and tell you a little bit about what she's been doing and what she's going to be doing coming up when we come back. So we're going to cut to a break one real quick, and we'll come back with Politibunny.
This is JD.
And this is Stacy.
Join us Tuesday nights, 10 p.m. Eastern, for Game On. Remember,
lock up the children and the old folks.
Game On, the home of libertative conservatism.
Where no one is safe, no one is spared, not even the hosts.
Oh, that was supposed to be a spin cycle. I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's okay. We love you anyway. Right round, baby.
Self-monitoring
right
Ebola
anyway.
radio strikes again.
Anyway.
Anybody see the host monkey?
Today.
Where's the host monkey? Where's the host monkey? For God's sake, I need an antidote. Just do your rant. Let's pop out of the segment.
Has to do with
Find us on Twitter at JD and Stacy.
You're listening to K98Talk.com.
Well, I think it's time we ask ourselves if we still know the freedoms that were intended for us by the Founding Fathers. We lose freedom here. There's no place to escape to. This is the last stand on earth.
We are today facing a full-fledged constitutional crisis. The answer is not a monarch from 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue.
Whether we believe in our capacity for self-government or whether we abandon the American Revolution and confess that a little intellectual elite in a far distant capital can plan our lives for us better than we can plan them ourselves. You and I are told increasingly we have to choose between a left or right. Well, I'd like to suggest there is no such thing as a left or right. There's only an up or down.
K98Talk.com, a leader in Internet radio. So grab your...
I think so. Can you hear me?
Boys, how are you?
You know, I'm crazy. I've been running around. I kind of forget this time of year is insanity when you have children. We were at school doing ice cream social, and I made it. I'm so glad I made it. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. We were really glad that you made it too. I knew that you would, because I knew you wouldn't miss this. So, but we're really glad to have you, and the chat room is really excited that you're here. So thanks so much for joining us. So everybody wants to hear about Politibunny. We might have somebody in the universe that doesn't know exactly who you are. Why don't you just why don't you just start off telling us a little bit about you, and especially your radio show that you're going to make a re-debut. Tell us about it.
Well, it's so funny. There are plenty of people who either don't know the bunny or they don't like the bunny, and that's fine. But I actually started doing this back in, 2013, because I got banned on Facebook. I have a really bad habit of getting in trouble in social media. And I got booted into Facebook jail for 30 days on Facebook, and it really ticked me off. And so I got back on Twitter. I tried it in 2009, and I hated it so much. Got back on Twitter in 2013, and it just took off from there. To be honest, when I first started, I thought to myself, I'm going to come in and I'm going to talk to people who think differently, and I'm going to educate them, and we'll have great conversations. You know, this country needs unification. That didn't work out so hot. You know, I have background in human services, and I understand the system, and I really thought I could come in and help. And, it didn't work out that way. I ended up getting told to die in a fire. I was called, everything but a white girl. And at first it was really off-putting, and then I decided that I'm mean enough to take it back. And the tweet that really started it all was on a hashtag. It was basically, what has the GOP done for us? And they're all, they put God in school, and they did all these horrible things. I'm like, yeah, that whole ending slavery thing, you're welcome. When I did that, when I tweeted that, there was a shitstorm. And I kind of found my footing after that, and the rest is kind of history. I got involved with a lot of messaging on things I'm passionate about, and I really tried, though, to keep my sense of humor, because it's really easy just to be mad all the time. And so then I kind of gradually got into radio. Stephen Hamilton started working with me, and I started working on the show called Politibunny on the Attack. And then I moved to some different stations, and the show changed how it looked. And then I decided it was March, to take a hiatus because there was a lot of trolling going on, and I was burning out, and I knew it was time. So I took a break, kind of tried to reboot where I was so I wasn't crabby all the time, because I was pretty crabby. I was bitchy. I was beyond crabby. And I took a break, and now I'm ready to get back, and I start next week back with my good friend Jason DeWilkins co-hosting on According to Me and Bunny. So I'm looking forward to that. I think he'll keep me centered and keep me from getting probably in more trouble than I need to be in. So that's
right,
a lot. Sorry.
Yeah, it is. Too much time on Twitter can definitely get you down. Speaking as part of a team, we lean on each other, and it's definitely easier with the team than it is being all alone. And sometimes Politibunny was all alone, even though you always have plenty of backup. But
I do. People are really good to me. There are a lot of conservatives out there, and even crazy libertarians. We love you, crazy libertarians. They're out there too, and they will step in and help out. But what's really great is that I would do the same for them, and I know that you would do the same. And that what's been so great about conservative messaging, and I really feel like we've been owning it on Twitter, is that we work together, and we take care of each other, and we don't let anybody beat us up until the last couple of weeks where it's gotten kind of bumpy again.
Well, it gets bumpy sometimes. But the truth is, you never know who's behind that Twitter account. Anybody can tell you that they're conservative, and I think that we all realize what we need to be careful of is people just coming in trying to make us mad at each other, and they might not really have anything to do with us otherwise.
That's true. Right? It's true. Yeah. I think there's a lot to be said for because I really think that we are in a position on the right. And by the right, I'm going to say conservatives, Republicans, right-leaning libertarians. I think we're at a position finally, because the Democrats have been so crappy, they have nothing to run on, that we actually have a chance to win next year. And in having that chance to win, it's going to get uglier and bumpier than anything we've seen yet.
You're absolutely right. And so we've established, through knowing each other, that you're quite a bit younger than I am. And I remember that we let in Jared, thank you very much, led him with the Reagan clip, because that probably is the separator between our generations. I remember those years. I remember the Carter years, and I remember the Reagan years. And I'm totally giving away, my age the week of my birthday, which is just stupid. But I remember them very well. We recovered. We recovered well. We thrived. We did awesome. And it actually took, 2 good Democrat terms to bring it down again. To actually 2 double terms. 8 years wasn't enough. It took them another 8 years because we had recovered so well. We can do it again.
And I really like to think that way. Because I have 2 kiddos in grade school, I need to think that way. But some of the things I'm seeing recently are making me really nervous and uncomfortable. And to your point, I have been worried that it's a conservative meltdown, and maybe it's not. Maybe it's more of an infiltration than I realize. But I think we are in the position finally to, and I hope the GOP doesn't do this, that they really could snatch defeat from victory at this point. So I'm hoping... Yeah.
They've done that. But at the same time, I think that it's sound kind of realistic and grounded voices that are going to make the difference. But at the same time, not kind of like you do with the chainsaw, just not take the crap. Right?
Chainsaw,
Speak truth to power. There's absolutely nothing with speaking truth to power, or just somebody that's getting in your face and you don't know where they're coming from. They're telling you you're wrong when you know that you're speaking on solid conservative principles. I'm going to ask you a question out of the chat room, at least I believe it keeps moving on me. I believe this is a question, and because I got a couple.
Okay.
We got a couple for you. So, and we like to ask the questions out of our chat room. Well, let's see. Question for you. Have a handful of make or breaks I won't ever vote for, but I have a few I'm willing to surprisingly vote for in the general, right? So the question is, there's a couple that are just absolutely no way I wouldn't vote for you if my hair was on fire. And then a few that they'd actually vote for because it'd be a better choice, or at least not a socialist choice. Who are your surprises that you would vote for that we might be surprised because they were the conservative candidate, or they were the more conservative candidate, or at least potentially more conservative? More conservative than Bernie Sanders.
Well, that doesn't take much. I think my bologna sandwich is more conservative than Bernie. I have to be honest, I was really surprised with Rubio at the debate. There was the whole piece of the aid and the amnesty, and even today, he's talking about how anchor babies have stories. And, I understand where he's coming from on a personal level, but watching him at the debate, he was so spot on, and he was so well-spoken, and it didn't feel like he was a car salesman. Like a lot of them can feel like car salesmen, Trump. But he felt genuine, and I was surprised because I was prepared to write Rubio off because I felt like, okay, the immigration stuff, no. So really for me, the surprise guy is Rubio.
I don't think that he's really a surprise guy for me. He's probably one of those guys that he's on the right, and I could be okay with it. My surprise might be Kasich. And I know that's probably, I know people's jaws drop.
I wanted to like him, but I got really irritated with the, my dad was a mailman thing he kept saying, over. I'm like, we get it, you're the everyday guy, your dad delivered mail. What do you stand for?
But I can say this because I know there's no way he's going to win the nomination. But in the event that he did, I would still not vote for the Democrat.
Yeah, and I think, I especially have really been hard on Donald Trump, and I'm going to keep being hard on him because that's how you make things true. That's how you hold them accountable. That's how you don't just buy into bullshit because it sounds good. That's my job.
You should be hard on all of them.
Yeah, and if he's going to say something crazy, I'm going to say, hey, you said other crazy 60 days ago. Which crazy is it? I think, though, even though I don't like him, even though I think he's full of it, if he's running against a Democrat, I probably would still support Trump. It would be really hard because I'm not happy with a lot of his positions. But I hate the idea of a Hillary or a Biden or a Bernie or O'Malley and whoever else they're going to come up with. Al Gore talking about running. So for me, he probably is my surprise guy. I really dislike him, but if he gets the nod, I don't want a Democrat in there.
Right, I hear you. So he's your surprise guy, kind of like Al Gore was the Democrat. So, my God, we're desperate guy.
Isn't that funny, Al Gore? Really, Al Gore? I keep waiting for Biden because, Biden's going to come in. He's going to. I keep waiting for him to do it.
Yeah, no, I don't doubt for a second that he is, Bunny. I think he's going to wait till the last minute, though, right? I think he's going to do it at the last possible minute. But the Al Gore, I actually had to say, who? Like, you're kidding? No. Wait. No. Did you read that in The Onion?
I thought it was a joke at first, too, because it was right along with another piece about his, sexually harassing and misuse, or 2 or 3 of them. I saw it in the same feed. I'm like, that's got to be a joke. I couldn't take it seriously.
Yeah. I thought it was an Onion thing. I really didn't think it was real.
So much of the Democrat stuff sounds like the Onion, so I just kind of take it as such, and I'm like, Al Gore, wow.
Yeah, that's a good point. Another question for you out of the chat room is, do you have a background in writing?
I always wanted to be a journalist, believe it or not, but then I realized that job sucked because I couldn't write what I really wanted to write, and so I actually went into theater. And I have a sort of background. I have oh my gosh, I'm getting so old. I have, 30 years of experience in theater. And so I went that direction. I did some screenwriting, and I've been working off and on a book because I think I'm just a great author. But what I'm finding is, as a writer, I am much stronger on something like Twitter because I have to work within a confine. And if you haven't noticed, I can really get off and just keep going and going. And Twitter kind of keeps me where I have only so much space to be clever. But, I always wanted to be a writer. I wanted to be a journalist. I thought, I'm going to be this great investigative journalist, but I'm going to be awesome. And, oh, my God, there's all these rules. Forget this. It did not work for me.
Yeah, it really takes a lot more, though, Bunny, to be clever in 140 characters than it does in 250 words. So, it was that. Like in high school, I was writing for the paper, and I had my little column, and I liked that because I could be funny. But then, we need you to cover the debate team, and they're going to Springfield. I'm like, what? I don't want to write about that. God, that's so boring. So-and-so has third place in oratory. Yay. It was not for me. And so I did some screenwriting and all that kind of stuff, but it was mainly for theater. So that's my background. Well, that's that was from our executive director, James Lysett, and he says that's a cool background, Bunny. So he approves. Yeah, he approves. So let's. I don't want to really belabor the Trump thing, but we mentioned it a couple of times, and we've got a few more minutes. Yeah, we got a couple minutes going into break. So we're going to talk about it for a couple minutes. We might talk about it for a minute when we come back, but then we're going to close the lid on Trump and not talk about Trump again. Right. So there's a lot of, and I've said this, you've said this, our friend Stacy has said this, we've heard lots of people say this, it's the hysteria on the right. This cult of personality around Trump. And I liked him better before that cult of personality thing blew up. Mm-hmm. And it's almost making me, it's making me not like him as much. Why? What is that?
Well, and I think what I'm seeing, and this is not going to make Trump supporters happy. I'm sorry, you guys aren't happy with me anyway. What I'm seeing is a lot of the same personality traits in Obama that is in Trump. Not a lot of substance in Trump. Lots of great talking points, and the guy is charismatic. Even when I want to punch him, I'm like, he's clever, he's funny, he's very charming and personable, but he's an empty vessel. There's nothing there, and we've already had enough of that. I mean, I had someone tell me, he's the Republican Obama, and that's what he feels like to me.
That was like,
me, right? Well, you're brilliant because you're right on. He is the Republican Obama. They're like, oh, well, immigration's a problem. Well, I'm going to send the Mexicans home, and I'm building a wall, and it's going to be awesome, and no more anchor babies, and they're going to pay for that wall. And Americans are so tired of having a president who gives our country away to criminals that they're like, hell yeah, it's time. Screw them. Let's kick some ass and take some names. And they're not thinking about what that really means. And I don't blame them. I get excited, too, and it's time. We're so desperate to believe somebody and for them to come through for us. And it's not going to happen with him. And I think that's why I really dislike him. Because I feel like he's really, he's playing people. He's like, I'm going to lead you. And Americans are like, thank God we need a leader. But it's such a fake, and he's just not there. You don't tell people you're a leader. They just figure out you're a leader. They want to follow you.
We've already had our heart broken. We don't need it broken again. And that was... I'm going to come back, and when we come back, I'm going to tell you why I think you said a mouthful, hit the nail on the head. But we've got to cut the break for a couple of minutes, and Jared's telling me it's 2 minutes to break. So let me go ahead and tell you. Sorry, let me go ahead and tell you why I think you hit the nail on the head. You said we are so desperate for, number one, someone to tell us what we want to hear, and number two, to follow through on it. And we've heard what we wanted to hear and watched them for I don't know how long, decades, go to Washington and not follow through on it. So Jared said I can go to break whenever I want to. So this is a good stopping point. We're going to go to break. We're going to think about that for a minute. We're going to talk about Trump for just another minute and how he's hitting on just that sentiment And
Okay.
we're going to cut right. We'll be back in about 4, I believe. 2 to 4.
K98Talk.com, a leader in Internet radio. So grab your seatbelts and take the ride of your life on K98Talk.com.
This is JD.
And this is Stacy.
Join us Tuesday nights, 10 p.m. Eastern, for Game On. Remember,
Lock up the children and the old folks.
Game On, the home of liberservative conservatism.
Where no one is safe, no one is spared, not even the hosts.
Oh, that was supposed to be a spin cycle. I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's okay. We love you anyway. Right round, baby.
Self-monitoring
right
Ebola
anyway.
radio strikes again.
Anyway.
Anybody see the host monkey? Where's the host monkey? Where's the host monkey? For God's sake, I need an antidote. Just do your rant. Let's pop out of the segment.
Has to do with
Find us on Twitter at JD and Stacy.
You're listening to K98Talk.com. The internet will never be the same. You're listening to K98Talk.com.
Good God, y'all. What is it good for? Absolutely. Let's get started again.
K98 Talk is expanding its lineup for 2015. This means we are expanding our advertising base. Whether you're a startup trying to push through to the next level or an established business trying to supplement your advertising budget, web-based advertising is a solid investment. Thanks to Talk's newest partnership with TuneIn Radio and instant access to our sister station, K98 FM, we give you worldwide access at a reasonable cost. Interested parties should email us at sales@k98fm.com.
Wondering why you're up early with us on a Sunday morning making a cocktail? News lately got you drinking? Hung over from the mainstream media by Sunday? We are, and we got you covered.
We sure do. We got your hangover cure for those weekly news blues. So sit back, top off your mimosa, and add some Baileys to that coffee.
Take a match to your copy of the New York Times. Light, funny, and oh yeah, news with booze.
And a lot of laughter.
Welcome to Bloody Marys and Broadsheets.
Abolish the IRS. Take all 125,000 IRS agents and put them on our southern border.
That's us. That's right. Gotta love this American ride. Both ends of the ozone burning. Funny how the world keeps turning. Look, Mom, no hands. I love this American
Welcome back. Jared tells me to go before you hear the American Ride, and I can't do it. I can't come in and start talking over that American Ride. It just sounds too good. Everybody knows that that's my favorite bumper because I say it every week. Welcome back, Politibunny.
Hey.
Hey.
Guys,
So
I'm doing good.
So we are talking about Trump hitting on that sentiment, that desperation almost that people feel, and I talk to people all the time that feel a real desperation about where we are.
And I think they're justified. You know, we really are living in a time where we have no border, where we have a president who is supporting criminals over Americans. So everything Trump is saying resonates. And I only wish there was substance, that there was more than just, oh, I have a plan and it's this and that. And I know he came up with something with Sessions and everyone's like, you should read his plan. I just can't take him seriously. I really want to, because I understand. I'm so frustrated. You know, as a mom, the kiddos crossing the border really wear on my heart. I feel bad. It's like we should do for these kids, but we're not doing for our own kids. So he resonates because Americans are tired of it. But I'm afraid he's going to let everybody down, and that's what makes me angry.
Yes, it's hard to believe rhetoric when you know when you see that, when it feels like more rhetoric than substance. It's hard to let yourself fall for it when you've been burned, when you feel like you've been burned already. I think it's really difficult.
You know, at the end of June, he was saying illegals deserve a path to success. I just can't believe him. And maybe it has to do with the fact that he's switched parties 5 times, that he's tried to run for president 5 other times, and he's only the first time he's actually gone through with it. You know, there's just a lot there I don't trust. And I guess I am a tad bit protective of our movement. I guess that's really what it is. This guy comes in, he's a con man, he's selling us, and people so badly want to believe it that he's taking advantage of them, and it really pisses me off. And so I've had probably, unfortunately, too many debates with people I normally agree with on this topic. So I'm hoping we can get to a point where we all can connect and figure out what makes sense for the country, hopefully here sooner than later.
Absolutely. I think that's the important thing, that we work to come together instead of, you know, letting things divide us. And I want the candidate. So I'd be willing to read Trump's plans. I'd be happy to read his plans if he would follow the 11th commandment with, you know, maybe one other candidate, you know, and I don't really even care which one, but if he just followed that commandment with one other candidate, it would probably make me more likely to read his plan.
Right.
Whatever that might be.
Yeah, but, you know, and the Planned Parenthood piece where he talks about partially funding them, which really still gives them money to kill babies. There's just too much about him that doesn't feel like a conservative. And to me, while the illegal immigration piece is important, it's not so important that I can overlook the rest of the crap that's going on in his stuff. I cannot accept any conservative who would fund those butchers. I just cannot support it.
Well, and that's a really great point, too. That's one thing that I think that separates us a lot. It's one thing to have an issue that if someone supports it, okay, well, I can't vote for you because that's my one issue that I can't get past. But to have one issue, but to have one issue that if you find a candidate that is absolutely perfect on that one issue, then that's your candidate. You're never going to find that guy. I mean, I feel sorry for people that are looking for that guy because they're never going to find him.
No. But that one issue, you know, and single payer, I'm not a fan, but that is not a deal breaker for me with Trump. I understand what he's talking about. He's a businessman. He has benefited from those kind of things. He knows that, you know, employers will have to pay that benefit then. I mean, I get some of the reality why he likes some of those things. I cannot get past anybody wanting to fund Planned Parenthood in any way. I just can't get past it.
Well, I think that when we talked about this coming into the show and in our first segment, we talked about at this point, regardless of what your stance is on choice, regardless, these videos have changed the game completely, and they're not done. I don't think I can take anymore. I don't know what else could be coming. They said they got worse as they go, but they
progressively get worse. Yep.
The one today, how can it get any worse? I don't want to think about what is worse than what they released today.
You know, what's really frustrating is that instead of Planned Parenthood saying, wow, there may be an issue here. We should be concerned. Let us investigate what's going on in our clinic. They become smug. They get snide. They deflect and talk about women's rights, Black Lives Matter. They're completely walking away from this evidence showing their clinics and their doctors lying to women, using women, and butchering babies and selling their parts. And instead of addressing it, they say that it's the GOP out to ban abortion, that it's for playing politics. It is infuriating what they're doing.
Right. They love coordinated attacks as long as they're not directed at them.
Oh,
yeah.
Are you kidding? And,
right.
You know, Planned Parenthood banned me or whatever, blocked me. They don't like me, and that's fine. I don't like them either. And some of their smaller chapters have blocked me. You know, Louisiana hates me because I keep defending Governor Jindal. But you know, what's really funny is that they're 501c4, which makes it possible for them to buy Democrats. That account has not blocked me, and so I am on them 24/7, like white on rice. And I don't give them a break. I keep waiting for them to block me too, but they're either muted me or tougher than Planned Parenthood.
Or they're just not paying attention.
They're so,
at all.
Yeah, it's the PPAC. It's their 501c4.
Right.
And they're the ones who are like, 65% of Americans believe in safe, legal abortion. I'm like, where are you getting this number? And they don't talk about where these percentages come from. But what's interesting is, I can't remember the gal's name, darn it, but she was talking about how I know Cecile, whatever, the evil, the witch. No, but there's a pro-life gal who pointed out that every Democrat who blocks defunding Planned Parenthood but one receives money from Planned Parenthood. Unbelievable. How is that not a conflict of interest? I don't understand how this works.
It is a conflict of interest, but it's kind of like drug laws, Politibunny. It's like, we'll create a new illicit drug, and the law will catch up with this eventually, right? So you can buy whatever the synthetic marijuana is over the counter now because the law hasn't caught up with it to make it illegal. Well, when the lawmakers are the ones benefiting, what's the chances that there's going to be a law made to make that illegal? Probably slim to none.
Yeah, I mean, really, there's this huge cycle. And, they give money to Democrats, and then Planned Parenthood funnels money back to them, and then Democrats fund them. It's this huge, pyramid scheme. It's ridiculous. But, what's really depressing is there were a couple of Republicans who took money from them, and they're up in Maine. What was it, Olympia? What's her last name? Anyway, the Maine Republicans took money from them in 2010. But traditionally, you don't see many Republicans taking money. It's almost all Democrats, and they're the ones who block the defunding.
Right, and typically they'll get in trouble with their constituents, and they know better than to do that. Even the establishment types that love the Chamber of Commerce and they'll take every penny that they have to give won't take money from Planned Parenthood because they know that we know. I mean, we've known this for a long time. Somebody just went out there and got the hard evidence. But, again, it's making me sick at my stomach to think about it and to talk about it. But I hope that anyone who hasn't watched the videos or paid attention to what they're saying, we've gone beyond abortion into infanticide. Watch the videos, and the game has completely changed with Planned Parenthood. And so let's put the lid on that one before you and I will probably get emotional about it, Bunny. I think we both might get emotional about it because we talked about this. One of your children was a preemie. My mom was a preemie. We're going to get emotional about this issue if we talk about it for too long. Yeah.
It's true because when it affects you personally, before my kid was born 3 months early, I was right along with, I wouldn't have an abortion, but I shouldn't tell you what to do. I was totally there. And once you've had it personally affect you, it changes everything. So we'll probably start crying and I'll get angry and I'll say something stupid. Mark, Mark St. Laurent, I hope I'm saying your name right. It's Olympia Snow. Thank you, Mark. I went completely blank on her name. Thank you, Mark.
That's her. Yes, that's her. So before I'm going to get back in the chat room and see what kind of questions people have for you if they have any. But as we do that, let's talk a little bit about trolls.
Oh, trolls.
We have
They're
so
fun.
many different types. I know, and there are so many different types out there. So there are the professional trolls, right? We've got the trolls working for Putin in their little troll farm, and we never know who those are, right? Yeah, we never know where that's coming from. And we have the liberal trolls, and then we have, you talked about libertarians on the right and on the left, and I hear this a lot, and I hear people talking about socialist libertarians, and, the political scientist in me, the political science student in me, my head blows off, because I'm like, those are opposite things. This is the kind of thing that I send a scathing email to Bill O'Reilly about. No, you're getting it wrong. You're mixing them up. But I get it. There's this libertarian movement, but they do it with every party, and they do it with every movement. Progressives kind of weave their way into it and try to change the policy and the agenda. And this seems to be what's going on with the Libertarian Party. It's kind of crazy.
There are some really smart, brilliant libertarians. One of them happens to be after you. Stacey Lennox is pretty brilliant, and she is a libertarian, and she's pro-life. And for me, I think really as more libertarians, part of it is I feel like they're kind of all over the board, and they really don't have one platform. And, for me, the one thing is the whole pro-life thing. And if they could just say, yeah, we're pro-life. Pro-life is liberty, and we support that, and we are against abortion, I probably would be a libertarian myself, to be honest with you, because I am all about stay away from me, government. I don't want you. And to each his own and do no harm and live and let live. I totally get all that. But the whole pro-life thing. But, there are some crazy freaking libertarians out there who will tell you, if you cut off an arm, it's the same thing as aborting a baby. I mean, they're just freaking lunatics, and they don't have much of a sense of humor, some of them. So, yeah, they're fun trolls.
Yeah, and you talked about Stacey. She calls it shut-uppery. She's on next, by the way. She calls it shut-uppery. Yeah, and it is that same, when you run across a conservative that gives you that shut-uppery, just go away and be quiet, or end of discussion, shuts down your speech, you're not talking to a real conservative.
My favorite is when, and this is, I'm really, there are plenty of people who probably think I troll because I am argumentative. I am not always friendly. I have moments where I'm a tad bit assertive.
A tad.
So you're probably tad. There are probably people who would say Bunny is a huge troll, and I have moments where I probably am a huge troll. But there's something to be said if you can troll and make someone laugh at the same time. You're not really, at least you're a funny troll. But no, my favorite is when I'm talking to a conservative and they start yelling at me in cap letters. This drives me nuts. Like you're a stupid little girl, and rah, rah. Like I feel like they're yelling at me, and then I'm like, please don't yell at me. And they're like, oh, I'm blind, I can't see, and I feel like a smart.
Well,
most of the time they're yelling.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, but it is yelling, and unless you have a good reason like that you're doing it, but
right? Well, and I have to be honest, there's the whole, I don't know what they call themselves, the whole cuck movement, those morons, they have really been just a thorn in my ass, and I know they've been a lot of people, they are out there, pushing white genocide and saying how brown people are ruining the country. They're absolutely nuts. And they have been literally probably the nastiest trolls I have dealt with. I miss some of the lefty trolls, to be honest with you, when I'm talking to these people. My favorite was the gal's last name was Mendez, and she was going on about how the Mexicans were going to destroy our country, and we're a third world country because of Mexicans, on and on about Mexicans. I'm like, is your last name Mendez? And she's like, F you. And I was like, really? look at your name for a minute, and you're telling me that Mexicans are destroying the country. I feel like a lot of the trolling we're seeing, and I think that movement is being fueled a lot by frustration and fear and anger, and so I got to laugh about it. Or I'm not going to be able to keep my sense of humor about it.
Right. The preemptively muting people is usually my way around it because I never hear them. They can yell at me all they want to. I never hear them. I'm in my little happy place on Twitter, and I don't to talk to people like that.
I will mute people. I block very few people anymore because once Twitter gave us the ability to mute people, we're not have to hear them. I'm good with that. And far too many people see you blocking them as some sort of victory. And so I'm just like, I'll mute you and you can scream at me and I don't even hear you. I don't care.
Exactly.
So
don't give them the satisfaction to block them because it is kind of a badge of honor. And I'm sure there are profiles out there that say blocked by Politibunny.
There are.
Yeah,
several.
I'm sure there are.
Yeah, and what's funny is most times they're not blocked. I'm like, really? I see you. And I'm not. You're not blocked. But okay, yeah,
Here I am.
And I have to tell you, there are people out there who will try and scare you and bully you, and they will go after your family in real life. And that I've been through that. I've had that happen.
Dark Twitter.
Yeah, on Twitter, they take it beyond Twitter. They make threats about employers. They make threats about your family. And those people are beyond trolls. Those really are bully accounts. But to have gone through that and to have gotten through it, I think I'm a better conservative, and I think I'm a better in social media than I was before it. Honestly, and it sounds silly, but I kind of feel like I should thank them because if I can get through that, there's not much I can't get through.
Right.
And there are people who will say I Photoshop my teeth, I Photoshop my chin. That's my favorite. They just say crazy things about a lot of people, and those are the ones that I think make us so stronger when we can deal with them and move on. And I hate to give them credit, but there is something to be said for that.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it makes you smarter. I know that I've watched some things that have happened to you, some of our other friends. I've just kind of been an observer of enough that I'm like, okay, I don't want anything to do with these people because they are scary people.
They are.
We're getting to the end, but we've got one more question from Jim. He wants to know who is your number one troll? Who's the person who trolls you the most and bugs you the most?
Really, none of them bug me anymore. There was a conservative troll who really trolled me hard, and he was the reason I actually deactivated in February because he just wouldn't stop, and he kept tweeting about how I had cheated on my husband and things like that. And I hate to give away his name. I hate to give him any kind of notoriety because that's what he was going for, was trying to, make a name for himself by taking out the bunny. But
right.
he probably, and what's really sad is he's supposedly a conservative, he probably trolled me harder than anybody else. There have been people who've stolen photographs from my family blog, and they've posted my address in my house and ex-employer phone numbers, whatever. I'm not exactly hard to find. I talk about where I live all the time. So that was not that shocking. But to be trolled so bad by a conservative.
Conservative, yeah.
It was a conservative. Well, he says he's conservative. There are also profiles showing him as a liberal who went to Columbia University and he's some graduate.
And there you go. That's it right there. You absolutely don't know. And we're about to hit a hard break. We're going to hit a hard break in a couple minutes, but I can't go without letting you know that Jason wants to know, of all people to come back and do a show with, why on earth would you pick him?
Is he in the room?
Yeah, he is. He's in the chat room.
Oh, God. Who let him in the chat room? No, Jason is somebody, I have a kind of an overbearing personality. I can be really mouthy. I don't shut up, clearly. and Jason is just outspoken enough to kind of keep me at an even keel and hold his own with me. You know, I don't think enough people have listened to his show because he's a funny bastard. He makes me laugh. And so
and he's,
that being said,
yeah, he's got a Twitter account at ATM_show, which is according to me, right, at ATM_show. So shout out to Jason.
He is funny and he is opinionated and he's mouthy. He's perfect to do a show with me on. So I'm really
excited. Sounds like it, yeah.
You know, I'm excited to work with him.
Sounds like and we've hit our end. And good night, you guys. Good night, Bunny. Thanks for being with us. You're the second person to ever take me to the hard break.
Thank you so much for having me. What a fun show. I appreciate it. You guys take care of yourselves.
And that's back next week.
Anna, won't back down.
When our water heater broke down last month, it was a nightmare. It took 5 hours for the plumber to show up, and he charged us a couple of $100 just to come out. Then it cost another $1,800 to put in the new water heater. By the time it was all said and done, I felt like I'd been taken. But what else could I do?
The smartest thing you can do is get a home warranty from American Residential Warranty. Their home warranties pay to repair or replace all your major appliances when they break, and they will break, and at the worst possible time. Call American Residential Warranty right now for free information on home warranties starting at just pennies a day. Don't wait for your refrigerator to stop running or your ceiling fans to stop turning. Call American Residential Warranty right now. Ask how you can save up to 50% on washer and dryer coverage. Just call 1-800-513-6154. That's 1-800-513-6154. Again, 1-800-513-6154. Call now.
Tired of paying outrageous prices for Viagra? Well, we have great news for you. Now you can finally get Viagra at huge discounts. Healthy Man allows you to save up to $500 on Viagra. Why pay U.S. pharmacy prices of $15 per pill or more when you can get Viagra for less than $3 a pill? Call today and get 40 Viagra pills for only $99. This can cost as much as $600 at your local pharmacy. You can't afford not to call us. If you want Viagra at the lowest prices, never pay $15 a pill pharmacy prices again. Get Viagra for less than $3 a pill. Call 1-800-516-7602 today and save up to $500 and get 40 pills for just $99. Healthy Man is fast, easy, and affordable. Operators are waiting at 1-800-516-7602 to take your call right now. Call 1-800-516-7602. That's 1-800-516-7602. Again, 1-800-516-7602.